No introduction needed. Let's get right into the material. When YNW Melly's lawyers said that they will be taking a different approach this time, this is what they meant. So, when we last reported that they filed several motions to have multiple pieces of evidence used in the first trial thrown out so that it could not be used in the upcoming second trial, well, that was one. Fast forward, update, September 26th to 27th, they filed a motion for the entire case to be thrown out, and they might have legal grounds to get it done. And the judge is considering throwing out the whole case. Today is September 28th. I'm talking about fresh off the press news. So while all this is going on behind the scenes, we're out here waiting for trial to start. I'll tell you right now that there's a lot going on behind the scenes. There's a lot of deliberations. There's a lot of motions being filed behind the scenes. There's a lot of back and forth going on behind the scenes. And we're going to get into the details of all that right now. YNW Melly's attorney actually said they don't want to take this to trial another time. They do not want to take this to trial another time. So I guess their approach, or the way they are saying they're going to do things differently, is to have the whole case thrown out. Whether it's to prove prosecutorial misconduct or prove that there was some kind of a foul up, they're basically going off of technicalities. In one way, this looks kind of bad because if your client is innocent, then you should be able to refute all the evidence that's brought forward. You should be able to refute all the evidence that's brought forward by the prosecution, right? Right. But instead of that, you have to go off of technicalities. What mistakes did the prosecution make? And try to get the case thrown out that way. Damn. But the fact that they might have legal grounds to do it, here's the details. So, YNW Melly lawyers are now urging the judge to throw out the rapper's double murder case. And here's why. YNW Melly's defense team is asking the judge to dismiss the rapper's double murder case on the grounds of prosecutorial misconduct, according to a court filing. That court filing entered on the 26th of September, and they met for it to discuss it on the 27th of September. Today is the 28th of September. That's why I said fresh off the press. So the defense on Tuesday asked Broward Circuit Court Judge John Murphy, which is also the presiding judge over the YNW Melly murder trial, they asked him to throw out the case, and they accused Christine Bradley of a Brady violation, it's called. This Brady violation, or concealing information that's favorable to the defense, for allegedly not divulging details about an investigation into Miramar Police Detective Mark Moretti. Because this withholding of evidence was not only institutional, but deliberate, prosecutor misconduct, double jeopardy principles apply, and the case must be dismissed. This is what the filing says. Now, under Florida law, prosecutors are actually required to disclose any information that may be favorable to the defense. Before I go too far in, let me explain in layman's terms. So, what YNW Melly's attorneys are saying is there's some information here that the prosecution had that could have helped them, their client, Melly, in court. And the prosecution knew it, and they withheld that information from them. So they weren't able to use it in the first trial. Because if they were able to use it in the first trial, then they could have got all of Moretti's testimonies thrown out. Or at least paint a picture to the jury that he's not somebody to be trusted. Therefore, anything he testifies would probably be looked at by the jury as questionable, right? Now, this is a real issue. We'll get into what it is that they actually withheld from them. We'll get into this though. So, if y'all remember the first trial or the only trial that went by so far, Miramar Police Detective Mark Moretti, he actually played a really big part. He stood his ground on the stand. He went toe-to-toe with the attorneys, battled them, and he stuck to his story, stuck to his guns, right? He was who I would call a strong witness for the state. Now, if they can break him down and discredit his testimony, that's half the job done. Now, under Florida law, again, prosecutors are required to disclose any information that may be favorable to the defense. The discovery of Brady violations in some areas have even led to overturned convictions. So this Brady law or Brady violations, it's a serious thing. It has in the past even led to overturned convictions, meaning people who were already found guilty, they were already sentenced, they were already sitting in prison doing their time. Their attorneys came into the courtroom, their attorneys said or filed a motion that said a Brady violation took place. And that is how the state got a conviction on my client. And the judge will say, yeah, but he's sitting in there doing life. He was already convicted. What was the Brady violation? Well, the lead detective in this case, he did something illegally and he was under investigation already. And he has 4 open cases in the same instance. And my client is one of those 4, blah, blah, blah. And it turns over the conviction and the person is let go with a clean record. So the discovery of the Brady violations is very sticky area that could possibly work in YNW Melly's favor if the judge decides, hey, it is true. You guys did hide this information and this information could have helped them. Now, what information are we talking about? Okay, the supposed wrongdoing stems from the defense, which is YNW Melly's attorneys, learning in late August that Moretti, the detective, the lead detective in the case, was actually under investigation for an incident involving excessive use of force against a potential witness. They learned this in August. This, of course, is after the mistrial. They learned that the lead detective, Moretti, was involved in a excessive use of force incident in which he was under investigation for. Now, if you ask me, this is a drowned man grabbing for straws. You know, if you jump in a pool or if you jump in a lake and you start to drown and you can't really swim, and you see leaves on top of the water floating, you're going to grab for those leaves because your life is in danger and you're trying everything possible to save yourself. You'll grab for the leaves and you'll find out that the leaves could not help you to float and you'll end up drowning anyways if someone does not rescue you. But this is kind of like the same analogy what I see here. If Mr. Mark Moretti, the lead detective in this case, is under investigation for an incident involving excessive use of force against a potential witness, I want to know what the excessive use of force was. Did he grab somebody by the neck and threaten them? Did he bang somebody's head against the wall? Did he twist somebody's arms and put them in handcuffs and put the cuffs on too tight on purpose? What did he do? Excessive use of force. In late August, Miramar Police spokesperson Tanya Ruiz told the Miami Herald that Detective Moretti was not under investigation, but Instead, he had a complaint against him. That's a difference. But aren't they supposed to investigate every complaint against the officer? You see, let me remind y'all, this new attorney that YNW Melly has, he has beaten multiple types of these cases. He has beaten multiple death sentence cases before. He is a highly decorated attorney. If you should compare him to soldiers in the military, he is that soldier that has been to combat many times and made it back home to tell war stories, and he's ready to go to combat again. This is how highly regarded this attorney is. So he came in with the gloves off, holding no punches, and he's digging up everything. This is why they said this time around they're taking a completely new approach. I think the completely new approach is to discredit the entire case and have it thrown out. Now, our office is what Miramar Police spokesperson who responded and said he wasn't under any investigation, so we couldn't have told you that. He had a complaint that was made against him, and they went on to say that our office is looking into the complaint, as we do with all complaints. And this is what she put in an email at that time. We're looking into the complaint. He's not under investigation. Bradley, in a court filing on Saturday, disclosed more information related to the inquiry into Moretti. Bradley said that Moretti was taking a statement from Jamie King, which is Melly's mother. So you want to know what it is that he's talking about? What is the prosecutorial, not the prosecutorial misconduct, but what is the excessive force? The excessive force. What excessive force did he commit? Come on now. If it was somebody that was outside of this case, I would say, yeah, they fumbled the ball. But it has to do with Melly's mother. So all these complaints that Melly's mom is making against the lead detective and Melly's ex-girlfriend mother is making against the lead detective and making against the main prosecutor, that's just their way of fouling up the case so that the case gets thrown out. Because they can accuse these people of misconduct, accuse these people of stalking me, accuse these people of harassing me, accuse these people of all kinds of things, right? And then their attorney or Melly's attorney, which is in favor of that type of information, would come in and point the finger and hopefully get the case thrown out. So this is a smart way to be doing it, but I don't think it's going to work if the judge sees through it. However, right now, everybody is holding their breath because the judge just said he's taking it into consideration. Bradley said that Moretti was taking a statement from Jamie King, which is YNW Melly's mother, in a conference room on the 7th floor of the Broward Courthouse. Y'all got to listen to this. This is what the misconduct is. This is what the excessive use of force is. Bradley said that Moretti was taking a statement from Jamie King, which is Melly's mother, in a conference room on the 7th floor of the Broward Courthouse. Prosecutor Michelle Boutros, who is King's attorney Robert Trachman, and Broward Sheriff's Officer Sergeant Jason Hendrick, all of them were present at the time. At some point, Sergeant Jason Hendrick stepped out of the room and Moretti executed a search warrant for Jamie's phone, according to Bradley's filing. Moretti executed a search warrant after the other officer stepped out of the room. Now, shortly after that, BSO Deputy Adam Gorell arrived at the conference room. Moretti, according to Prosecutor Boutros, Moretti then told Gorell that he should say that he was present when he executed the search warrant. Moretti later asked Gorell if he was there when the phone was taken, and Gorell said something along the lines of, "I can be if you needed me to be." So, in other words, he was not there, but he is willing to back the blue. He is willing to lie for homie. He is willing to say, I mean, if you need me to say I was, then I was, kind of thing. And this is where it is. So according to a filing made on Tuesday by Christopher Killoran, a prosecutor with the Public Corruptions Unit, Moretti told Bradley that the statement he made to Gorell and Gorell's response, they were just jokes. They were really just jokes. Now here's what the defense is saying. According to Melly's lawyer, the state was tight-lipped about information that was related to Moretti allegedly wrongdoing October 12th of 2022. The first time they heard about it was in late August of 2023. Rather than presenting this to the defense so that the defense could have used it in the first trial, the state withheld this information. This is what the filing says. In fact, it is believed that the highest level of the state attorney's office made determinations to not provide this information to the defense, and secondly, to not pursue the internal affairs investigation. They're accusing everybody. This was like a cook-up from the highest level. Now, at a hearing last week, defense attorney Stuart Alderstein, who is the new attorney, asked Bradley about the status of the investigation according to the court filing. Bradley told him that it was closed and no wrongdoing was found. This is the lead prosecutor in this case, right? Melly's lawyer asked about the status of the investigation. Are they investigating him? Are they investigating Moretti? And where does it stand? Is it an open investigation case? Closed? Did it even happen? And Bradley told him that it was closed and no wrongdoing was found. They also asked for Boutros' sworn statement, and Bradley said she didn't have it, according to the filing. But she's not going to just walk around with Boutros' sworn statement. They can get one from him if it's required. Now, in the filing, Melly's legal team also claims that Bradley had copies of the statement and the internal affairs investigation. This is what they claim, but she told them in court that she didn't. And no wrongdoing was found. But yet still, they're claiming that she has copies of the statement and internal affairs investigation. The defense argued that the state did not share the information before the first trial so they could gain a tactical advantage on them. If they had known about the incident, then they could have questioned Moretti on the stand about his willingness to conspire with Deputy Gorell to obstruct justice and to create false filings. But they didn't know, so they couldn't use that info in court in the first trial. The state allowed one trial to go by while concealing this evidence. This is what the filing says. This is YNW Melly's attorney talking. The state allowed one trial to go by while concealing this evidence. Obviously, they're planning on allowing another trial to go by without revealing this information. Well, Melly is 24 years old. His real name is Jamel Demons, and he's accused of gunning down his childhood friends Anthony Williams and Christopher Thomas, better known as Sack Chaser and Juvie, in an alleged drive-by after spending a night of October 26, 2018 at a Fort Lauderdale recording studio We know the whole story already. You know, Bortland ended up at the hospital with the 2 bodies in the car, and detectives actually did an investigation and found out that where they claim a drive-by took place, no evidence was found of one, no spent shells, no video footage, and that area was under video surveillance. I want people to remember that. That area was under video surveillance. No footage of any drive-by and shooting happened on video. And they actually used YNW Melly's cell phone data when he dropped the location, he dropped the pin, GPS pin, when he contacted Fredo Bank to come pick him up. And this is where they're able to see through cell phone tracking that all 4 cell phones were together, including the 2 victims' cell phones and Bortland and YNW Melly's cell phones. There also, and then they went to that location where they saw that not only did they wait there, stop at that location for a while, they also, this is how they're able to tell in court that these guys sat in this spot for a while and planned this. This is where they shot up the car, because it shows on a cell phone data tracking system, all 4 cell phones were in one place, and then it shows them traveling down the road, and then it shows them going in separate directions. This was as Bortland made his way to the hospital and Melly made his way to a separate direction to get picked up, right? And this is how they were able to actually find the real location of where the murders were staged. And they have proven that it was not a drive-by that took place. And this is what he is on trial for. Williams and Thomas, both aspiring rappers with the YNW Melly or the YNW Collective, they were known as Sack Chaser and YNW Juvie, YNW Sack Chaser, respectively. Now, Melly, he's among the first defendant to go to trial after Florida Governor Ron DeSantis signed a law to lower the threshold for a death sentence in Florida, 8-4 jury vote, from the previous requirement for a unanimous vote of 12 out of 12 in order to secure a death penalty. So let's see how the rest of the story goes. This information was released in the Miami Herald, and it was also written by Grethel Aguila one day ago. And I say those names just to give credit so there's no plagiarism. We use this information for our discussion, right? And we consider this to be factual information pertaining to the case. Leave your comments in the comment section below. Tell me what you think about this one. Do you think the judge is going to end up throwing this out? Well, let me close by saying this. YNW Melly's attorney said, we have no intentions of going to do a whole new trial again. And then he said, hey, we'll be lucky if we're able to get a jury together by Thanksgiving. My take is this. If Melly walks free, then this is going to be open season on young black men, because what the state is going to send message saying, this is how you get away with murder. It's a blueprint on how to get away with murder. I'll catch y'all on the next video. I'm out. Peace.